Live without regrets. Have I forgiven myself? Sometimes. It's easier for me to forgive others than to forgive myself. I keep holding on to past mistakes, tormenting myself for the things I said, did, or didn't have the courage to do. I blame myself. That if only I had been more mature. If only I had chosen differently back then. But then, I realized, no one lives without making mistakes. No one grows up without stumbling. Forgiving myself is when I know how to look back at the past with understanding and compassion. Is when I know how to tell myself, it's over, I've learned something, and I'm moving forward with a more mature heart. Have I ever lived a full day? I've lived many days, without remembering what did I do that day. I ate in a hurry, slept in anxiety, talked while thinking about something else. I was like someone who was running according to plans, running according to expectations, but forgot one thing. Living is to live, not just to do. I practiced little by little, eating mindfully, listening to a song without holding the phone, hugging my mother for a long time, looking at the smile of a child on the street without passing by. Living a day fully, sometimes just like that. What am I most grateful for in my life? When I'm sad, I often look at the things I don't have, but one day, I tried writing it down on paper. What am I grateful for? I wrote, grateful for still having parents. Grateful for still being healthy. Grateful for having a place to return to. Grateful for having someone to listen to me talk today. And the more I wrote, my heart became calmer and happier. I realized, happiness is not far away. It lies in the things I often forget. When the heart is grateful, life will be gentler. How to live without regrets. I used to be afraid of regret, afraid of looking back one day and seeing that I had missed something important. I used to ask, how to live without regrets. Then I saw, the biggest regret is not because of failure, but because of not daring to try, because of not saying what I needed to say, not living true to my heart. So I started to live differently. I said I love you when I still had time. I called my relatives not because what reason. I apologize when needed. I quietly help someone without expecting anything in return. I choose to do good, no matter how small, because I know, living like this, tomorrow when I look back, I will not regret. What do I want to leave behind after I leave? One day, I will also leave this world. Like many people who have gone before, no one brings money, fame, or social networks, only the things we have done for others. The words we say, the looks we leave behind, and the way we live each day. I don't want to leave behind too many noisy things. I just hope someone remembers me and feels lighter. I just hope my life, no matter how small, is also a gentle piece for this world. If you have come with me to this part, take a moment to close your eyes again. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how do I really want to live this life? The answer may not come right away, but the moment you start asking, you will start living more consciously. Am I truly listening to others? Many times, I hear but I don't listen. I listen to reply, not to understand. I listen to a loved one speak, but my mind is elsewhere. I look at them, but I don't really see them. Only when they feel hurt do I realize they needed me, but I wasn't really there. I began to listen again, not just with my ears, but with silence and heart, because sometimes listening is the gentlest way to say, I am here with you. Have I hurt someone without ever saying sorry? Some words feel light, but they cut deep. Some actions I made, out of anger, out of ignorance. I moved on with time, thinking all was forgotten, but someone still carries that pain with them. I started reaching out, sent a few heartfelt apologies, late but sincere, because I've learned, a simple, I'm sorry, can restore someone's peace. and lift a heavy burden off my own heart. What does true compassion really mean? I used to think compassion was something big, donating, charity work, disaster relief. But I later learned true compassion starts with the smallest things. A kind gaze to a tired soul, a gentle check-in with someone who's quiet, a warm hug, giving way in traffic, a bit of patience with someone slower than me. Compassion isn't for show, it's to keep our hearts from becoming cold. What am I leaving in people's hearts? Every encounter, short or long, leaves something behind. Am I leaving behind a smile? A sense of peace? Or a wound? I want to live in a way that, when people think of me, they feel warm, not burdened. I want to be someone who brings light, even just a little, to soften someone's darkness. Live so that when you leave, you don't need to leave something grand. Just a bit of love is enough. How can I live without needing recognition? There were times I did something kind, but deep down I wished to be praised. I helped someone, but quietly hoped they'd be grateful. I tried to live kindly. Yet sometimes I felt sad when no one noticed, and I asked myself, if no one acknowledges it, do I still want to do good? That question silenced me. Then I thought, how many mothers have sacrificed silently their whole lives, without anyone saying their names? How many kind souls stay quiet, without ever being honored, yet they still live, still shine, and their hearts remain bright, without needing the spotlight. I learned from them that doing good doesn't need to be seen. As long as my own heart knows, that is enough. The lotus still gives off its fragrance in silence. Am I being led by money? Money is necessary, but if I live only to earn money, I'm losing things that can't be bought. There were times I worked endlessly, lost track of time, neglected loved ones, and even forgot myself. I thought making more money was a way to show love, but then I realized some people I love need my presence, not my money. Some children need gentle eyes, not brand new toys. Some meals just need me to be fully there, not richer. Money isn't wrong. It's only wrong when it starts to control my heart. I want to earn money with integrity, and use it to grow love, not to feed my ego. What does enough mean in life? I used to think having a big house, a nice car, and plenty of money would mean I've reached enough. But every time I got something new, I found myself wanting more. I looked around. Those with more than me seemed tired. Those with less often smiled with ease. And I asked, so what is truly enough? I remembered one rainy day, eating dinner with my family. Peace in my heart, nothing more to wish for. That was a day of enough. Enough isn't in your bank account. It's in your peaceful heart. Enough is when you are grateful for the now. When you pause to see what you already have, and feel happy with who you are. Without comparing, without chasing, just living honestly, and loving sincerely. Am I truly living as myself? That question sounds simple, but every time I think of it, my heart sinks. There were times I lived by others' expectations. I tried to become who society wanted. I pushed myself to be liked, to be praised, to not be left behind. But deep inside, sometimes I felt like a stranger to myself. I smiled, but sadness was in my chest. I said, I'm fine. But I was hurting. I realized, pretending to others is exhausting. But pretending to myself hurts even more. Once I started listening to myself, I felt lighter. I stopped trying to please everyone. I chose to be sincere. And I realized, those who truly love me will stay. I learned to drop the mask and live as myself, humble enough, honest enough, peaceful enough. Have I ever forgiven myself? Maybe. Many people are angry at themselves without even knowing. Angry for not being good enough. Angry at past mistakes. Angry for hurting others. or for abandoning themselves. I used to feel that too. I kept blaming myself for my mistakes. I criticized, hated, and refused to give myself a second chance. Until one day, I heard a saying, as water flows to the ocean, mistakes too will pass if we know how to turn around. I sat still, and burst into tears, because I had never embraced myself. Never said to myself, I'm just a human being. Knowing I was wrong is already a good start. Living better now is what matters. I learned to forgive myself. And since then, my heart has softened. I'm not perfect, but I'm living truthfully, and doing my best each day. Do I dare to live a simple life? In the past, I thought simplicity meant boredom. I thought only those without dreams would choose an easy, quiet life. But the more I grew up, the more I lived, I realized, simplicity is not emptiness. Simplicity is when I dare to say no to the superficial. It's when I know what's enough and what is excess. Simplicity is eating a humble meal, yet feeling it's delicious because loved ones are near. It's wearing old clothes, but feeling at ease, not chasing trends or people. It's not needing to show off, not proving I'm better than others, yet still feeling worthy. Simplicity doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of what's unnecessary, to live more deeply with what truly matters. What does a simple life give me? It helps me listen more, helps me notice the flowers by the roadside, helps me see the tired eyes of my parents, hear the sighs of my siblings, remind me to care for my grandparents while I still can. When life slows down, I finally see so many beautiful things waiting for me to love them. I don't need to run with the world's race. I just need to live at the rhythm of my own heart. And the miracle is, the simpler I live, the richer my life feels. I have time to hug my parents, time to talk with my siblings, time to tend the garden, tend my heart, and care for people. I realized, life doesn't need to be grand, just genuine. You don't need to be rich to feel happy. Just knowing what's enough is already peace. A single simple flower blooming in life is enough to warm the heart of a passerby. How am I looking at life? Am I only seeing the negative? Focusing on what's wrong? Only remembering others' mistakes, while forgetting the beauty around me? I used to be that way. I was judgmental, easily irritated, often saying, why are they like that? Why is life so unfair? But then I realized, what drained me wasn't life itself. It was the way I looked at it. If I saw others with suspicion, everyone seemed fake. If I looked at life with envy, everyone seemed better than me. If I looked at the past with regret, I couldn't love the present anymore. I lived like that for a long time, and my heart felt heavy. Until I tried changing one small thing. I began to look at others with kindness. I stopped rushing to judge. Gave people another chance. I thought, maybe they're just tired today. Maybe they've been hurt before, just like me. And strangely, when I saw people with compassion, they seemed more gentle, and so did I. I can't change the whole world, but I can change how I see it. And what if I choose to see with love? I'd see my aging parents and realize they need a hug more than a complaint. I'd see my siblings struggling and offer empathy instead of comparison. I'd see a friend who's mad at me, and maybe all they need is a message, I understand. I'd see life, imperfect as it is, still full of charm. I've learned that, when I plant seeds of kindness in my gaze, I grow happiness in my own heart. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Why do I need silence? Because sometimes, the noise outside is too loud, and the voice within me is too quiet. I can no longer hear what I truly want, where I am tired, what I deeply need. Silence is not emptiness. It's the space where I return to listen to myself. In silence, I can hear my heartbeat, hear the breath flowing in and out, hear life whispering softly, and hear sorrow gently knocking at my door. Am I afraid of silence? Yes, I am. At first it felt strange, felt empty, and sometimes a little lonely, but then I understood. In those quiet moments, I finally touched the truth inside me. I realized I had ignored my feelings for too long, kept chasing praise, trying to prove something, without giving my heart a place to rest. Silence isn't scary, it's like a resting harbor, where I can return after days of storm. There, I learned to forgive, to let go, and to love myself more. Where do I find silence? I don't need to go to high mountains or deep forests. I just need to turn off my phone, sit still for a few minutes each day. I just need to not react too quickly. When someone hurts me, silence lies in the way I pause. In every breath, every step, every gentle look, I've learned one thing. When I know how to be silent, I no longer feel the urge to shout at the world. Because deep inside, I've already touched peace. Silence is not an escape, but a return to the self. Have I ever tried living for others? I used to live thinking only of myself. Chasing comfort, chasing money, chasing fleeting pleasures. And then I realized, that kind of joy is fragile and short-lived. I smiled today, but felt empty tomorrow. I was briefly satisfied, but still not at peace. Until one day, I did something simple. I bought a loaf of bread and gave it to a homeless person shivering on the street. As I reached out, I saw their smile, and for the first time in a long while, I felt warmth in my heart again. Since then, I've started giving more. A kind word, a hug, a warm meal, a moment of listening without judgment. I'm not always wealthy, but I know, sometimes people need my kindness more than my money. Why does giving bring us more happiness? Because when we give, we stop seeing ourselves as the center of the universe. We feel connected to the world, to others' pain and joy. We learn to appreciate what we have, to be grateful for the ordinary, and to feel lighter inside. I realized, giving doesn't make me have less. It makes me richer. Richer in compassion, richer in gratitude, richer in beautiful memories that no money can buy. In a world that rushes by, kindness remains the most priceless gift. Why do I keep holding on to something that has passed? Because I thought, if I held on, I wouldn't feel the pain. I was afraid to forget, afraid to lose, afraid of feeling like I failed. But the tighter I held on, the more exhausted I became. I held on to hurtful words, to old memories, to unfulfilled dreams, and I wondered, why couldn't I find peace? I didn't realize that, to move forward, I had to become lighter. No one can go far while carrying too much weight on their back. Does letting go mean forgetting everything? No, letting go isn't forgetting, it's accepting. Accepting that some things will never be the same. Accepting that I gave it my all. And accepting that, sometimes, letting go is how we hold on to ourselves. I learned to breathe more deeply, to see things with softer eyes, and to tell myself, if something no longer belongs to me, let it leave in peace. Letting go doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger. Little by little, I don't need to win every argument. Don't need to keep every relationship. Don't need to live up to everyone's expectations. I just need to live gently, to be honest with my feelings, and to live a life without regrets. Letting go doesn't mean loving less. It means loving in the right way. Then please, subscribe to the channel, to continue spreading good things with me, so that every day, we grow together, in peace and love. Thank you very much for listening until the last minute. See you on the next peaceful journey.